Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I'd been there so long. I started at WCCC when I was 19 years old. And started as an intern, and I literally worked my way up through doing every job you could do at the radio station. And I was there for 28 years. And 28 of those years on the air during the day. So even by mistake, people heard me. You know what I mean? So whether you were a rock listener or you liked that radio station or another, even by mistake, you had to hear me a bunch of times over the years.
Mike Karolyi's voice. That's awesome. So what got you interested in radio, or like even, I know, we talked, I remember briefly a long time ago.
You remember that conversation?
A little bit. I remember talking about Avenged Sevenfold for some reason, because I was into them. And I remember, I remember like talking about what got you into radio. Mm-hmm. So it'd be cool to hear a little bit, like what sparked that interest and got you started.
For me, in all honesty, I never really had any interest in radio.
Yeah.
Like, thinking about that as my career, my job, never crossed my mind.
Right.
So when I was going through high school, trying to figure it out, when you're in high school, everybody says, what are you going to do? Like, when you graduate, what do you want to be?
Yeah.
And I had no idea. I used to get, like, kind of anxious about it. Like, I need to know. I'm 16 years old. I need to know. And I had no idea. All I knew was I had a strong passion for rock music.
Right.
I grew up listening to Aerosmith and Led Zeppelin and Kiss and Queen and all that stuff. And I would just, almost as though I was studying for some exam or something, I just learned everything I could learn about all these different bands and the history of it. And I was that was where my passion was.
Cool.
So, as a teenager, as a lot of us do, try to play instruments, and I found very quickly I have no musical talent whatsoever. Tried to play guitar, I couldn't do it. I can't sing, can't do any of that stuff.
You got a great radio voice, though.
Well, as it turns out, that was kind of my way into the music business. So I knew I wanted to do something with music, something around the rock music world, but I didn't know how. And I ended up getting a flyer in the mail for Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Okay. And it actually was addressed to my sister, who was a year and a half older than me. And I was bummed thinking, she's going to want to do this. And if she does it, I can't. It's not cool. Yeah. But I asked her about it. She goes, I'm not doing that. So I said, well, I'm going to give it a shot. And I came to, kind of ironically, this is full circle now, because the station that I'm at is on the Farmington campus of Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Right. So I graduated from here in 1984.
That's wild.
It's crazy. Now I'm broadcasting. It's pretty cool.
You have your own radio station here.
This is what brought me to broadcasting, was my passion for music. And I've been very, very fortunate because, yes, I'm a broadcaster, but what I've been, as I mentioned before, the music director part of it, I've gotten to know all the people at the record companies, artist managers, the artists themselves. Have become friends with a pretty decent amount of them. And over the years, not only doing business with them, but interviews and acoustic performances and all kinds of stuff, broadcasting has led me to be in the music business. So that's what led me to broadcasting.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've seen that, with a few people, and it doesn't always play out that way for people who get into broadcasting. So it's pretty cool. So the biggest question, a lot of stuff we've been talking about in our broadcasting class, is the changes that have happened in commercial radio over the years. And when I had the opportunity to this assignment to reach out to someone in the industry, and you were the first person I could think of, not only because you're the only person in radio I know, but it was also because I just knew. I was like, Mike Karolyi's been doing this for 30 years, right? 30 something?
30 plus at this
30,
point.
Okay, yeah. So and you went from, like you said, starting as an intern with WCCC, which was a huge station, had great success in Connecticut.
And rock station for 40 years.
Yeah. And
that's amazing.
And it was, I remember it was specifically rock music, and it's great. And then, jumping over to the online, iRockRadio, what were the changes that you saw while you were there? And what led to maybe, I don't know, say the decline, not the decline, but like, you know, WCCC, like eventually shutting their doors and you coming over here?
Mm-hmm. A lot of things happened, and some of it happened very slowly over the years. And when things happen slowly, you don't always see it happening because it's just happening over time, whereas opposed to just a quick change. Everybody feels the effect immediately. But one of the things was the deregulation of, you know, ownership of radio stations. So back in the 90s when that changed, it used to be you can only own one radio station, let's say, in a marketplace.
Right.
So if you own WCCC in Hartford, that was it. What was great about that business model, if you will, is that every single radio station was a competitor of the other one.
Right.
So we competed with everybody else, and everybody else competed with us. When that deregulation came and companies could own multiple radio stations, it removed a lot of that competition. Because now you have an ownership group that owns a country station, a light, soft rock station, a classic rock station, whatever, all these different formats. And typically their goal is to own one station that appeals to every single demographic by the end of it. So maybe the soft rock station appeals to females 25 to 54, and maybe the rock station appeals to men 18 to 49, and so on. And eventually, all those stations together appeal to everyone. So then they go out and they sell those stations as a group, as opposed to just selling advertising for CCC. They're selling it for The River, and they're selling it for Kiss 95.7, and all their stations, and they put them on everybody. There's some pro and con to that.
Yeah.
But to me, that was the start of the erosion of FM radio, where competition was gone.
Yeah.
And now you got all these. So we used to go out. We were fiercely competitive at CCC. Yeah. We were always the underdog.
Yep.
And we always had to go against these big corporate chains, and we would go out and fight tooth and nail for our territory, for our listeners.
Yep.
It was very, I don't know,
rock and roll.
It was very rock and roll. You know, and we always had that attitude where we really just, this is our turf. Don't tread on it. You know, that's how we felt. But with these clusters and these groups and trying to appeal to so many different people at the same time, you could go and there could be another station. If you talk to somebody from TICFM, they didn't have a competitive bone in their body. You know, they were just like, oh, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
Where for us is like, what are you guys doing here?
Yeah.
You know, so that was part of it. But as that went on, cutting the story shorter, is what I believe happened is radio stations stopped being run by broadcasters.
Right.
Radio stations were now run by banks. So when a bank is running a radio station, or if a bank is in charge of any kind of property, it's all about the bottom line, and that's it. They don't care about the art of broadcasting. They don't care about theater of the mind and, you know, giving a personality the chance to develop and grow and become a Howard Stern or whoever. They just care about the bottom line. So with that, you start
part-time gigs, right?
Yeah, well, a lot of part-time gigs go out the window like what they were traditionally. You work on the overnight or on the weekend. Yeah. Those end up going away completely. A lot of your nights and weekends at radio stations are pre-recorded, voice-tracked. Right. There's nobody there.
Yeah.
The other part of that is they now will take the same product in Los Angeles, New York, Chicago, Hartford, Boston, wherever, and pump it out everywhere. Yeah, I've seen that. Now you're paying one person to do middays in 17 cities. Yeah. They save a bunch of money. But that person who, if I'm sitting here in Connecticut doing a show for Jacksonville, Florida, and Los Angeles, California, I have no idea what's going on in Jacksonville and Los Angeles. Yeah. It removes that.
How can you connect, you know? Like you can't.
There's no local connection.
There's no local connection.
Here at iRock and back at CCC, we go to all those concerts. Yeah. We are there every show with our listeners, Hartford, New Haven, Worcester, wherever it is. Yeah. We're there with them. You can't do that when you're syndicating and when you're voice tracking around the country. You're doing national contesting. And so, in my opinion, once the banks started owning radio stations and running them, you lost the art of broadcasting. And it just ended up being, every business is about the bottom line. Right. But if broadcasters were running the business, they would think the bottom line will get bigger the better we are.
Absolutely.
Bankers don't really care.
It's the hardest mentality of it. It's
exactly
the
right.
same thing with bands and people. Myself as a musician, I see that all the time. It's like the people who are in it for the money, die out eventually.
Yeah.
But
so with banks running radio stations as well, that's where you get these long commercial breaks now too, because they're trying to get that bottom line, dollar.
And they even cut down the songs now.
Yes.
I noticed.
Well, some top 40 stations will speed up a song.
Yep, I noticed
just
that too.
Enough.
I'm like, wow, this song sounds a lot faster than when I play it on my, iPhone or something. It's like,
and that means if they do that with 9 songs in the hour, they could probably now allow themselves another 4 minutes of commercials. It's true. But you sit, you drive in your car where you listen to the FM stations. If they go into a commercial break, you can forget it for at least 5 to 9 minutes. And that's a long... Whose attention span is 5 to 9 minutes?
Yeah.
Nobody's.
Yeah.
If you're commercial number 7 in that commercial break...
And we've talked about that specifically in our class about what can radio stations do to hold viewers' attention, because people aren't listening to the radio like they used to, as you know, and the FM radio at least.
Right. No, I think FM radio is dying. It may be a slow death, but it's dying.
Yeah.
Everything's on your phone.
Yep.
Every bit of entertainment, information, everything is on your phone. Now, stations have apps and they have that companion to theirs, but they don't pay attention to it, and they can't monetize it like they can the FM station now, so it makes it hard for them to just do that.
Right. And we talked about the FM station in the car, because that's where most of the listeners are coming from now, in the car, and now even car companies are talking about taking the radios out of the car because people aren't using them.
Right.
And it's like, if that goes, we talked about that in class, that's going to be
a game changer.
Crazy.
It changes everything, and it will happen. It'll just, what it will be, and a lot of cars it already is your dashboard will be a reflection of your phone.
Right.
Whatever apps you have on there, whatever, maybe there's a docking station, and it just, now your phone is your dashboard.
Yeah. Exactly.
And if you don't have, Radio 104 on your phone, you don't have it on your dashboard.
Right.
And people are creatures of habits too. They just, you like what you like. You're not going to go seek out something, like on an FM dial, you might hit scan, and as you scan through, you might hear something you like, stop. Whether you like that station or not, you like the song, you'll stop. That all goes away when it's, because everybody that listens to iRockRadio chooses to listen to us.
Yeah.
You physically have to hit the app, open it up, and listen to it. It's not like you just stumble on us by mistake.
Exactly.
It's a choice, which is kind of a neat part of it,
It is, yeah. I'd imagine that would make for, because I found out about iRockRadio, I don't know, maybe a year or two ago.
How'd you find out? With social media?
It was social media, I think.
That's our biggest marketing tool.
Yeah. And that's when, I would put it in my car, and it's great because, you have freedom here of what you can put on. And,
for sure.
And that's really cool. So I'd imagine, that's
a lot of people ask, is what you hear on iRock today the way CCC would have sounded if we hadn't changed?
Yeah.
Because at the end we went classic rock.
Yeah, I remember that.
And then we went away. But if we hadn't changed, would this be what CCC sounded like? And it's exactly what it would have sounded like. Because I was a music director then. I'm choosing music for iRock now. So, yes, what you hear now, it's kind of weird. Like, time stopped almost for some people at CCC. But if you could look into the future, this is what you would hear. It's kind of crazy.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So last thing, piece of advice for students or anyone interested in getting into radio or broadcasting, that, any form of broadcasting, if you have any, piece of advice you want to leave us with?
There's a ton of opportunity in media. Forget the word broadcasting just for a second. The word media comes into play more often now. So what we're doing at iRockRadio is a radio station. It's in our name. It's who we are. Yeah. But what I've learned in the last 4 years is that there's so much more to broadcasting than just talking in a microphone and, doing an audio medium. As you know, we have a performance room out here.
Sessions, yeah.
We do acoustic sessions. We record the audio of it, but we also shoot video for our YouTube channel and for social media posts. Any time that we can incorporate video along with the audio, social media, our on-street presence, there's so many different aspects of what we do now that we didn't do at CCC. We never shot video at CCC. Maybe fluky. It was never planned.
Yeah.
But now we shoot video of everything. If it's a short video or a longer performance, whatever it may be.
Throw it on the website, throw it on YouTube.
Think of somebody's attention span on social media
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to read a long text? No. You might look at a picture. If you see something of interest in you in a video, you're probably going to watch it.
Yeah.
That's what people do.
Yep.
I don't know if that. So, long story short, to me, broadcasting now includes so many different things. So, if you can take some video skills and add them to your... I look at everybody as a brand. You're a brand. Right. You're a drummer. You're trying to expand your career into other things, but you're going to use your drumming and your passion for music and your knowledge from Guitar Center, whatever it is that you can add to. That's your brand.
Yeah.
Everybody is a brand. So if you take what you've got as experiences, if you can add to that and kind of be a self-contained unit, that's kind of what we've done here and what our staff does here. Every single one of us is our own brand. So let's say you have even some basic video skills. You add that to whatever we do broadcast-wise and getting word out. Our social media skills, from scheduling posts at certain times to writing posts a certain way to get engagement, to there's any number of things. What I think the future of broadcasting is a collection of skills in media. And then you